I'm lucky enough to drive things like this, the awesome Mercedes-AMG GT R, on a fairly regular basis. It's a supercar by anyone's definition. It's fast, loud, and of course, very green. But call it a midlife crisis, call it madness, call it a death wish. It's definitely a death wish. I very recently started riding one of these. This is the BMW S1000 RR, the most powerful production bike that BMW has ever made. Its 1-litre engine pumps out nearly 200 horsepower at 13,500 RPM. In a fit of stupidity, I've set myself a mission to see if I'm anywhere near as fast on this superbike as I am in a supercar. But given that I've only been riding for a few months, this is slightly ambitious. I've enlisted the help of a California Superbike school, who I'm told might be able to make me fast enough on a bike to compete with the car. But before my 2-wheel tuition begins, I'd need to set a benchmark on 4. So here we are, Brands Hatch in the Mercedes-AMG GT R. I am in familiar territory here. I know what I'm doing in theory. So let's set a lap, see what this thing can do. Trying to keep in mind that the surface isn't exactly dry. The grip levels are questionable. I can see a lot of spray on the windscreen, but we're going to go for it. This thing is an absolute monster. In a straight line, it just absolutely takes off. Rear wheel drive, of course, so you've got to be careful applying the power out of a bend. Carbon ceramic brakes, super strong. And of course, confidence. All important confidence on a track like this. And a lot of that comes from the fact that I am essentially in a metal cage. And I've got a seatbelt on. If something goes wrong, I mean, it will be expensive and embarrassing, but I'll probably live to tell the tale. And that 4-litre V8 twin turbo, that is the best sounding turbocharged V8 there is, hands down. There's actually not a lot to worry about in this car. You can let the gearbox do its thing. You can let the traction control do its thing. And it just gets on with it. Just point it and go. There's a lap. With that out of my system and about a 57-second lap time, it was time to see how I'd cope with the bike.
Okay, here we go. Into Druids. This one is a really late apex. Can really catch you out on the exit if you get that turning wrong. Smoothly on the power. Brake in a straight line. And tip it in. So much power available. And I'm using it, baby! Come on! Oh my god, that is quick! And the brakes are surprisingly good, actually. Got to be a little bit more patient in the corners than I would be in a car. But as soon as I come out, I can just launch it. The key here, I think, is just to be as smooth and progressive as possible. Second gear, third gear, fourth gear. You get it right, it feels like a ballet, a tango. One of the key things you often notice about motorbikes is how leaned over the riders are. So it's easy to make the mistake and think the key to going fast is to lean the bike over. It's not. It's quite the opposite. You've got to keep the bike upright in order to maximize the amount of tire tread you have in contact with the road. So when you see the guys leaned over on their bikes, what they're doing is keeping the bike upright, but keeping their bodies leaned over.
It goes without saying that the S1000 RR is rapid. Brands Hatch is a tricky, technical circuit that demands immense concentration and commitment. And my early laps felt rapid, if a little rough around the edges. I felt twitchy, and so did the bike.
God, it is so difficult to manage all of these different things going on. Rolling on and off the throttle, changing down, leaning the bike gently, rolling off the brake.
There were a few moments of panic, of course, but also some moments where I felt like I was the second coming of Valentino Rossi himself. Adrenaline and confidence were both high, and I had even higher ambitions for my lap time. Were you timing?
Yep. You want to know?
What's it looking like? Yeah. Because I couldn't get a clean lap together.
So your times varied by about 23 seconds a lap, but you did 2 in the 107s.
Two 107s. I think I can get it to under a minute.
Really?
Yeah. With a clean lap.
So you think you could get within 2 seconds of the AMG GT R after just one track training session?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to go with the yeah. I think Martin, my instructor, might have something different to say, but yeah, we'll see. The California Superbike School instructors did have something to say. My first laps were well over 10 seconds off the pace of the AMG GT R, and I had a sizable list of things I needed to improve if I wanted to go faster. Most crucially, I needed to keep the bike more stable. So to simplify my workload, they asked me to go back to basics. I was told to return to the track for a session where I completed laps using only one gear, third, and without using any brakes. This is completely alien to me. I'm charging towards a corner. I don't have the safety net of using the brakes. This could end up in a big accident, so I'm not going to push. Crashing is not an option today, not on 2 wheels. This is weird, but actually, there's now a lot less to think about, so I can focus more clearly on throttle control and how it affects the bike through a turn without corrupting the information I'm getting back. By reducing the number of inputs, I was able to concentrate on technique instead of speed. The S1000 became more stable as a result, which gradually allowed me to push. The toughest thing is using your body to control the bike. In a car, you use your arms and one of your legs. In the AMG GT R anyway, but in this thing, I'm using my fingers for the brakes, I'm using my wrist for the throttle, I'm using my right foot for the rear brake, I'm using my left hand for the clutch, and I'm using my body to transfer weight around the bike. And it's like being an octopus. What a challenge. With that out of the way, it was time to get to grips with some more tuition. But there was a problem. The more I was learning, the faster I went on track. And the faster I went, the scarier things became. The scarier things became, the more I'd forget my training. With practice and no small amount of coaching, I was able to push through the fear and began stitching together some decent laps. It was clear that I was nowhere near quick enough to beat the Mercedes-AMG GT R, but that almost didn't matter. I was having so much fun developing my skills, and with this enjoyment, could take the time to reflect on why I'd started this 2-wheel journey in the first place. Why bikes? I mean, because I'm a petrol head through and through. It doesn't matter if it's a chainsaw or a blender or a supercar, I want to be a part of it, you know? I wanted this bike in particular because it's got RR on it. It's the BMW S1000 RR. It's got my initials on it. It feels like it was made for me. And also, this was the bike from the Mission Impossible movie. This is the bike that Tom Cruise was riding around on with no helmet, fighting bad guys. And I don't know, it kind of makes me feel like a superhero. I might look like some kind of evil Power Ranger on steroids, but I kind of like that whole image. And this BMW S1000 RR just fits in perfectly. And I've learned so much about throttle control, about turning in the right places, about balancing the bike. And I'm now a much, much better rider than when I came here. If I had 5 more minutes at the end of today to ride either the bike or the car, what would I pick? I think I'd take the bike, but only because I don't want to get out of my leathers. No, I'll take the car. No, I wouldn't. I'll take the bike. I'll take the car. I'll take both. Why are you making me choose? The time for reflecting was over. I'd come here to set myself a challenge, and I wasn't leaving without giving it one final crack. Lapping more quickly on the bike than in the car was clearly not going to be possible. Not on this circuit, not with my level of inexperience, and not with something as bonkers as the AMG GT R. But if I could get to within 7 seconds of the car, I could leave knowing I'd at least made significant progress.
Okay, last session of the day. I've got a few seconds left still to find. I know it's within me. I just gotta remember my training, consolidate everything I've learned, and above all, stay calm. Okay, here it is. On the straight. Wind it on. 4th gear. 3rd. Tip it in. Now we're cooking. Brake. Straight line. I'll tell you what, you gotta have balls on your balls to ride a bike fast. Okay, this is the one, I can feel it. Oh! This thing is good. Yeah, that was cool, man. Hey, I'm a lucky boy. I'm a lucky boy.
The numbers were in. 1 minute 5 seconds, 8 seconds slower than the AMG GT R, but a full 3 seconds a lap faster than when I first came. Thanks to the California Superbike School, I'd leave Brands Hatch a faster, safer rider, and significantly, I'd also leave in one piece. I will always be a car person first and foremost, and driving cars like the Mercedes-AMG GT R will never get boring, believe me. But there's something immensely satisfying about riding a superbike that is allowing me to rediscover the thrill of speed. There's something immensely satisfying about starting from the bottom and then trying to work my way up again. It's gonna take me a long time before I'm anywhere near as good on a bike as I am in a car, but I'll tell you what, it's gonna be fun trying.